Serial killers often provide chilling insights into their motives, revealing a complex interplay of psychological factors. Driven by a range of disturbing impulses, from a desire for power and control to unresolved personal traumas, these individuals justify their heinous acts in twisted attempts to fulfill dark needs. The explanations they offer shed light on the intricate and often incomprehensible nature of their motivations. 6. Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer, during an interview with a reporter from MSNBC,
No, the killing was just a means to an end.
In this particular instance, murder was only a minor component of the crimes he committed. Over the period of 13 years, he was responsible for the rape, murder, dismemberment, and cannibalization of males, selecting, in his own words, the most attractive guys that he could have found. In his statement, Dahmer stated, "I simply desire to have the individual under my complete control."
There was a big element of wanting complete control over someone, total control, not having to consider their wishes.
There was a sense of helplessness that Dahmer grappled with when he was a child. It was his battles with his homosexuality that contributed, at least in part, to his feeling of helplessness. According to his explanation, "I started having obsessive thoughts of violence intertwined with sex roughly when I was 14 or 15 years old, and it just got worse and worse from there."
It happened the first time. It just seemed like it had control of my life.
After the second time, it felt as though the desire to carry out the action was too powerful, and after that, I didn't even make an effort to do anything about it. He claimed that the act of cannibalizing his victims,
It was a major part of my thinking from then on.
I had a sense of sexual fulfillment as a result of doing that. In the end, I did what I did because it was the only way for me to feel like I had complete control. The act of constructing my very own miniature world in which I had the last word. 5. Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy, one of the most notorious American serial killers, committed a series of heinous crimes during the 1970s, leaving a trail of terror and death. Bundy's motivations for his brutal acts remain complex and not fully understood, as he himself provided conflicting explanations. Some theories suggest that Bundy's troubled upbringing, characterized by feelings of rejection and insecurity, may have contributed to the development of his violent tendencies. His modus operandi involved luring young women by feigning injuries or asking for assistance, only to overpower and assault them. Bundy's charm and charisma allowed him to manipulate his victims, creating a facade that concealed his sinister intentions. The psychological factors influencing Bundy's actions include a mix of personal issues, possible mental health issues, and an apparent lack of empathy. Ultimately, the true reasons behind Bundy's killing spree may never be fully comprehended, as his motives remain shrouded in a dark and disturbing enigma. 4. Paul Bernardo. There had been an arrest made against him and his wife, Karla Homolka, 11 years before this. Because they appeared innocent but carried out twisted killings, the media gave them the name Ken and Barbie Killers. With the intention of giving her new husband a Christmas present, Karla allowed Paul to rape and kill her own sister. After being stopped there, they continued to victimize girls all throughout the country. Bernardo attributes his cruel behavior to a childhood marked by insecurity, despite the fact that he is referred to as Ken in the media. During his testimony before the Court of Appeals, he stated, "I was the kind of guy who would freeze for baseball plays. I don't want to swing since I am aware that I will fail to hit the ball. When I went to Mother's Pizza for the first time, I recall being so nervous that I couldn't even bring myself to approach the table." One of his assertions is that he was able to overcome his anxieties about sexual performance through the act of committing rapes. "Since I had that at the time, I turned to sexual activity as a form of vice." Bernardo appears to have lost his sense of authority now that he is incarcerated. "I am the worst piece of crap on the planet," he declared to the authorities. 3. Anatoly Onoprienko. From Anatoly Onoprienko's perspective, killing people is comparable to ripping up a bedspread, as he shared with writer Mark Franchetti. Over the course of 7 years, he was responsible for the deaths of 52 individuals. He had already gained the nickname, the Beast of Ukraine, by the time he was incarcerated from his experience in prison. There was no trace of remorse on his part. The statement that Anna Prienko made to Franchetti was as follows: "Men, women, old people, children, they are all the same."
I feel absolutely no pity for any of those people I killed. I am a much better person than any of them.
My perception of them is that they are not individuals but rather masses. In his statement, he asserted,
The devil, and I don't think about it.
the statement that he made was, "If I am ever let out, I will start killing again." This time, however, it will be far worse, 10 times more dire. It is a strong desire. 2. Yang Xinhai. There has never been a murderer in the history of China who has taken as many lives as Yang Xinhai. In a span of only 4 years, he was responsible for the murder of 67 individuals. He would go into people's homes, most of the time those of farmers, and rape, in addition to killing entire families. A breakup was cited as the cause of the news. The relationship between him and his girlfriend ended. According to one of the claims, Yang Jia developed a vindictive attitude towards society as a consequence of this phenomenon. Some people considered him to be a threat to the social order. A law enforcement official informed the media that he committed crimes to merely hurt society. He harbored feelings of revenge against society, according to a different piece of reporting about him. Yang Xinhai, on the other hand, had a more stoic attitude in his explanation. "There is no desire on my part to be a part of society. I have no concern for society," he declared just before he was put to death. "I felt an urge to kill people as I was doing it. This motivated me to kill even more people. It is irrelevant to me whether they are still alive or not. Nothing about it is of concern to me." The atrocity that Yang Xinhai committed is not something that stands out to him. He stated, "Killing people is something that happens quite frequently. There is not much to talk about." 1. Andrei Chikatilo. "The act of using my knife provided me with a sense of psychological relief," commented Andrei Chikatilo, a serial killer from Russia. On numerous occasions, he has utilized it. He was responsible for the killings of 53 people. The majority of them were deserters and people with mental disabilities. His murders were violent and merciless. He would gouge out the eyes, chew off the innards, and load carcasses with dirt. According to Chikatilo, he had a desire to live a more fulfilling life. "In the past, I had a dream of having a successful career in politics, but I ended up with this nothing life, working in stations and on trains." Observing drifting men engaging in sexual encounters reminded him of his own impotence and failures. As time went on, I started to question whether or not these inferior elements had the right to exist. When he was successful in luring his victims into the forest, he would become ecstatic. I would begin to start shaking. Chikatilo described it as being similar to a fever. "My transformation into a beast, a wild animal, has now taken place." When he testified in court, he stated that the deaths provided him with both sexual satisfaction and a sense of relief. Chikatilo spoke the words, "I know I have to be destroyed. I am aware of that. I made a natural blunder." Thanks for watching. Subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon.